Hello, I'm Prof Hendry, course coordinator and instructor for Biology 111, organismal biology, which you could also think of as introductory biology at McGill University. Normally when I'm teaching Biology 111, we're in a classroom setting, and so we can interact with the students a bit more, bring in physical materials to show you, such as gorilla skeletons to compare to human skeletons. I brought in a live snake to show the students so that we could talk when we were talking about reptiles. And since we can't interact with you one-on-one or individually in such a large class, the way that I've thought perhaps we can do this is I can try to bring you into a more personal setting. So this is my cabin in British Columbia, where I've been coming since 1975. And there's a whole bunch of cool nature here that I tend to refer to in Biology 111 and my other classes. And so what I've done this year is I've stayed out here for several weeks with the expressed goal of recording content that's directly relevant to Biology 111 lectures. And so what I can do is I can mix the actual presentation of materials relevant to Biology 111 and the vertebrate context in the actual physical environment from which that information is coming. I can intersperse that with, traditional slides from textbooks and things like that. For now, I'm going to go back into my cabin. It's raining outside. It's been wet the entire year. The river's really high, but I'm going to go back inside my cabin and I'm going to edit some videos together to show you the type of things that I can bring to you from my cabin that will ultimately be relevant to different lectures in Biology 111. About a month or so before class starts, and what I'm doing is I'm picking up a bunch of camera traps. They're called game cameras sometimes, and what they do is they detect the infrared signals of heat coming off of animals, and so you can put them in remote locations like we are right here, and you can use them as a way of attempting to assess animal behavior, how many animals are present. This was one of the first places that inspired our camera trap work, and if you take a look, there's 3 trails, so it's a 3-way split to the different trails. One might logically think that that trail is going to go to, I don't know, feeding patch 1, and that trail over there is going to go to feeding patch 2, and that one there, but that's not the case. In just another couple hundred meters, they all connect up again without being appreciably different in where they've gone. So we started wondering, why are there splits in these trails? So we set up camera traps to ask, for instance, maybe the moose go one way and the bears go the other way. Or maybe moose with antlers go one way and moose without antlers go the other way. Or maybe when you're going this direction, it seems easier to go on that path, but when you're coming from the other end of the split, it seems easier to go on this path. Or it's theoretically possible, I think, that some animals are right-handed, some individuals are right-handed, and some are left-handed. Some go to the left, some go to the right every time. This turns out to be a olfactory signpost for many animals. Why they picked this, I have no idea. But we just see it on our camera trap, which is mounted right over there year after year, that almost every animal stops and smells this bush. It's like a place where people leave little post-it notes or like a mailbox for everybody who can read the information. So we see bears smelling this. Every moose pretty much smells this. We see wolves peeing and smelling and rolling in this area. There have been a large number of terms that have been used to describe various forms of ecologically important species. Keystone species, foundation species, an ecosystem engineer. In this case, we're looking at the effects of something that might be all 3 of those, and that is the beaver. So this is an old beaver dam here. Now the beaver dam has broken through, and so it's not holding back water, but you can see the remnants of the effects it has wrought by killing all of the low-lying trees and originally impounding huge amounts of water. So beavers change nutrient dynamics of the soil, of the streams, they change hydrological flow patterns, they create habitats that weren't there previously. So the kids just found one here, and so let's take a look at it.
So this is a lamprey amoseat, but it is beginning to metamorphose into the adult form. It will go a long migration, hundreds of kilometers down to the ocean, where it will then take up a parasitic life cycle in the ocean.
We've seen a lot of cool things here over the years. Moose trying to get over different parts underneath this thing. But one of my favorites is a lynx who came walking right along this cool log and then leaped off onto the other side. Lynx vary dramatically in their abundance from one year to the next. As a matter of fact, they cycle. So you'll see repeated cycles of high abundance and then decreasing, then low abundance, then increasing, and then high abundance amounts of lynx. And they seem to be linked to cycles in the snowshoe hare population size as well. So there's been a lot of research trying to figure out why you have population cycles. It's another really cool example of a bear tree. What usually happens is a bear, and it seems to me that it's often black bear based on the videos we've seen. They take a few bites out of the tree and scratch it a little bit, removing the bark, which then causes the tree to secrete sap all over the bark. And then they come and rub on it. So one of the other interesting things here is that because all the animals end up using these trees to signal to each other, you end up seeing another really cool phenomenon about north temperate forests. And that is they tend to be nitrogen limited when it comes to primary productivity. So the reason why there isn't a lot more greenery around is because there's not enough nitrogen. Now urea, with all of its nitrogen in it, will basically provide a local fertilization of the environment and thereby giving a little flush of growth. And you can see it on the tree here. So the bears are rubbing on here. The bears are often peeing when they're rubbing. Wolves will also pee here. But you see basically a little flush of green algae that is growing here because there's a particular local input of nitrogen here that favors the increase in the growth of plants. A couple of our camera traps are in kind of special locations. This one is on a trail, but it's a very different kind of trail. It's a trail that the bears use in the fall to patrol a salmon spawning stream for carcasses that they then obviously feed on to prepare for their long winter hibernation.
So I kind of think of it as it's going to be sort of a place-based teaching approach where I continually reference things that are happening at my cabin, and that way we can build a broader picture and a bigger picture of how the concepts in Biology 111 all integrate and are found in a particular physical location in the world. So that will be northern British Columbia, and there are also several other place-based locations and place-based teaching that I will try to bring to you in Biology 111. But we'll save those other ones for surprises later on.